Megalithic constructions are a very important part of humanity's enigmatic past. And despite the distances that separate the monuments around the world, there are incredible connections that no one can explain. In the area bathed by the Mediterranean Sea, we find sufficient evidence of a civilization that we know nothing about but which erected extraordinary buildings from colossal stone blocks. One of the most important settlements of this type is found on the island of Minorca. We have traveled there to witness the magnitude of its megaliths and the mysteries that these immense constructions, which dot the Minorcan landscape. One of the main and most abundant constructions on the island is the so-called talayot, a term that means watchtower, because it has been considered just that, a watchtower or defensive structure, although, as we will see later, that was not its function at any point. More than 300 talayots have been counted on the island. Most of them have a conical shape with a circular base ranging from 8 to 17 meters in diameter. But there is another type of talayot, more ceremonial, with a square base of stricter measurements, close to 10 meters, whose walls are oriented towards the solstices or their lunar equivalents. All the talayots have been constructed from large stones fitted together without any type of mortar or cement, forming a mound of rocks with several layers of stones that sometimes include an interior chamber and an entrance at their base. Others, however, are solid with a room at their highest point. In the talayotic settlement of Torre den Galms, one of the largest and most important in the Balearic Islands, you can see 3 circular talayots, located at the highest point of the village, a perfect place for surveillance functions. But why build 3 towers and triple the effort when 1 tower is enough for surveillance? It is worth highlighting the incredible connection that exists between the talayots of Minorca and the so-called Neurig of the neighboring island of Sardinia, or with the well-known Torri of southern Corsica, which are only a few hundred kilometers apart by sea. No one has found an explanation for the constructions of the mysterious Neurigs of Sardinia. Around 8,000 have been discovered spread across the island, although it is believed that in the past there could have been up to 30,000, which is quite strange. For this reason, it makes no sense to claim that these constructions were made for surveillance or defense. It is true that the talayots are more rudimentary constructions and do not reach the level of sophistication of the Neurigs of Sardinia, but there is a great similarity between them, so it is not surprising that there was an ancient common culture between these 2 islands in the past. Among the elements of the talayotic culture of Minorca, the figure known as tala stands out, which means table in Catalan. It is a construction element that has the shape of a T, consisting of a large vertical stone block on which another block rests in a horizontal position. And unlike what happens with the talayots, only 1 tala enclosure appears per settlement. The tala enclosure is a building constructed using the Cyclopean technique. The perimeter wall is double, and on its inner face, there are attached pillars made of gigantic stones, as can be seen in the tala enclosure of Torre den Galms, whose central element, the tala, is dismantled and the fitting they made in the horizontal stone to set it on the vertical can be appreciated. The archaeological excavations carried out in the tala enclosures have revealed some interesting figurines, such as the bronze statuette of Imhotep, a famous architect and high priest of ancient Egypt, found in Torre den Galms, or the bull of Turalba. The tala, due to its shape, is also linked to the bull as it resembles a head with horns. This opens up many hypotheses, but focusing on the figure of the bull, it means that this type of cult to the symbol of the bull had reached ancient Minorca through the Mediterranean. And as we know, the bull represents Baal, one of the most revered and dark entities of antiquity. But this is not the only theory. The most supported one is that the tala served as an astronomical calendar. In the tala of Trapuco, a place near Mahon, the capital of the island, one can see on the surface of the vertical slab some grooves carved into the rock that are arranged equidistantly from each other, and whose total sum is 29 lines. According to the geologist Gonzalo Calvo Perez, they represent the lunar month of 28 to 29 days in duration. It should be noted that the lines are inclined, forming an angle of 40 degrees that corresponds to that of the ecliptic to the west on the day of the equinox, according to the latitude of Mahon. Moreover, a perfect star map is observed, constituted by the constellations represented by the black dots seen on the surface of the rock, and they would correspond to Orion and Taurus, two very important constellations in antiquity. Again, the similarities with Sardinia and its devotion to the bull are exposed, recalling the well-known Tombs Dei Giganti, or giant tombs, in the shape of a bull's head, which were oriented towards Aldebaran, the brightest star in the constellation of Taurus. We cannot fail to point out another great similarity between the Talas, or the Taliadic settlements, with other elements of antiquity. In this case, we refer to the archaeological site of Göbekli Tepe. Considered the oldest temple in the world, according to official dating, it is at least 12,000 years old, breaking all records established by history and revealing a completely unknown past. Although there are still many enigmas surrounding the Turkish monument, Göbekli Tepe stands out for its T-shaped pillars, a style very similar to that of the Talas of Menorca. Even when comparing the sites of both places, so distant from each other, they share a tremendous relationship. Both have pillars placed in the inner ring, achieving a great architectural resemblance. The most surprising thing is that both the Taliadic settlements of Menorca and the enclosures of Göbekli Tepe are not only separated by long distances but also by 10,000 years of age. And even more incredible is that 3,000 years after the construction of Göbekli Tepe, this immense complex was deliberately buried to preserve the monument and the information that its designers had imprinted in it. The Taliadic culture of Menorca was officially not influenced by Göbekli Tepe, unless the official dating of the Menorcan settlements was incorrect, and these places coincided in the same period, and it could even be that the Taliadic sites were built before the constructions of Göbekli Tepe, which, according to some theories, also creates a star map and holds information about the most catastrophic event the Earth has experienced in the last 20,000 years. The Great Worldwide Flood. We cannot overlook the theory that argues the true purpose of these special places in Menorca was related to energies that we do not see and do not yet understand. Perhaps the Talas were places of connection with more subtle worlds, or even a way to capture infinite energy from the ether. Perhaps that would explain how they were able to move those heavy stones and place them in the correct locations. There is no doubt that the builders of the megalithic structures in Menorca, along with those of Göbekli Tepe or Sardinia, possessed knowledge that we still cannot comprehend. We can only say that thousands of years ago, an unknown and enigmatic civilization inhabited Menorca, and its mysterious remains make us realize that we know nothing about the history of our past.